This episode contains references to violence and self-harm in the context of folklore.
Hermes, draw near, and to my prayer incline, in arts gymnastic and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, in thy suppliant here.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind, Episode 18, The Cryptids of Christmas.
Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Kaitlyn.
And Merry Christmas, and welcome to Third Eye Bind.
Yes,
Bless
a bright Yuletide to you and yours.
A bright Yuletide. Blessed tidings. Love and light to you on this blessed day. Just kidding.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat, fuckers, because this shit's gonna get dark.
In this episode, we are discussing the cryptids of Christmas.
Which happen to be bountiful.
They are quite abundant.
And fucked up.
Pretty fucked up. But before we get started, if you like and love Third Eye Bind, we would like and love for you to rate our show wherever you're listening or watching. Leave us a comment or a review. Share our show with your friends who would also enjoy it or perhaps benefit from listening to it. And if you really love us, we would be honored if you subscribe to our Patreon page, patreon.com/thirdeye-bind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
let's...
Okay, before we begin,
give me.
I would just like to say thank you, Kaitlyn, for doing this episode. Because if you've listened to this for a while, you know that the C word, we're now saying it, cryptid, is not Kaitlyn's favorite thing to talk about, but it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So
I'm sensitive to the spooks.
Yes, we have some extra protection of white light around us.
A nice little wreathy with a pentagram.
And I should just like to say out loud that none of these energies that we're speaking of are allowed into or around our actual being selves, particularly Kaitlyn. You can haunt me. Okay. Just kidding.
Say that.
Moving on. I know you're always like, don't fucking say that. They know I'm kidding because I winked in my head when I said it.
Let's see what these fucking cards have to say.
This is the episode I get possessed.
Don't say that.
I'm just kidding.
I can handle it.
It's Juniper. I can't help it. Now I have a name for this.
I have a name.
It's Juniper.
Oh my God.
What is it? I'm scared.
I'm compelled to shuffle again. I pulled the 10 of Swords.
You did not.
Again.
Shuffle it again.
I'm shuffling it again.
I don't like it. We just pulled that card. Look, sometimes you gotta reshuffle it. That's weird. That was the one about things not ending well. And I just said I was gonna get possessed.
I pulled the 6 of Swords.
Okay, well, it's the swords.
Okay, but it's funny. You got a fast car. Is it fast enough so we can fly away from these fucking cryptids?
Wow. That's not what I would have thought would have happened.
So, the 6 of Swords is a card that speaks to our need to ask for help sometimes. The understanding that in our most difficult moments, we can't always do things alone when we are suffering, when we are struggling. And I think that a lot of us take on the idea that we have to get through this on our own. I don't want to burden anyone else. And the message of the 6 of Swords is that the need for help is not a burden. And when you are willing to ask for what you need from your spirits, from your peers, from your loved ones, someone somewhere is going to be able to assist you. And I honestly feeling like, I'm channeling. It's not so much about this episode, Cryptids. It's more about when this episode is going to air, which is the week before Christmas. And I think this is a really hard time for so many of us. The winter is when the sads hits a lot of us really, really hard. The holidays, this holiday in particular, tends to be a source of a lot of pain for folks. For whatever reason, all of our families are fucked up in their own unique and special ways. And this can be a time when we are feeling particularly lonely and disconnected. And the good guides around us want to remind... Oh, am I going to cry? I can't cry. I'm wearing jewels on my eyes.
I'll cry for you.
The good spirits just want to remind us that, like, you never have to be alone. And even if the only people you are communing with and celebrating with are those of the spirit realm, you don't have to be by yourself. You don't. And that really is the beauty of having a relationship with nature, with spirit, is that no matter how isolated you may feel, they are always with you and eager to be by your side, to eat with you, to cry with you, to watch shitty holiday movies with you. You never have to do it alone. And it's okay to ask for the help that you need. Not everybody may be in a position to assist you, but someone will. And we have to put aside our pride and our fear and be willing to ask for that kind of help. And this brings me back to the Lover's card. And the message I teach when it comes to the Lover's card is that this is the moment in the major arcana where we learn that so much of our healing cannot happen by ourselves. So much of our healing is meant to be witnessed by another person, facilitated by another person, whether it's a therapist, a parent, a friend, or a spirit guide. You don't have to be alone. You're not alone. And, like, we're happy you're here.
Yeah.
We're really happy you're here.
This is very interesting because while I was researching the cryptids of Christmas, a lot of things came up. A lot of it being the fact that Western culture ignores death, ignores our scary, spooky spirits during Christmas time.
And this is their time.
And this is their time. So to me, that card is not only saying you're not alone, but also you're only celebrating half of a holiday of what could be. Because, yeah, when you commune with the spirits, even if they're fucking weird, which we will get into, they're a part of your family and your culture and your lore. So it's, again, like an invitation to go into that space when you're feeling alone.
I think exploring, your folklore is a really good way to, like, spend this time of year. Like, fairy tales and folk mythology from your ancestry is a really beautiful practice at this time.
And digging into the winter spirits that are forgotten in this culture and just replaced with pseudo-paganism Jesus time.
Yeah. He wasn't even born in the winter.
No. So, like, let's instead of, like, you know, like, they're fucked up and funny, but, like, they need to be talked about too, you know? And so that's very interesting and not but yes, Christmas time is, I don't like it. And I think part of that is because it just feels very false to me. It feels very forced love and light-y to me. The most forced love and light. That's the season of love and light. Everything is...
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Laura.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Fuck you for feeling any differently. I just don't enjoy being forced to feel that way. But traditions throughout the world embrace the darker aspect too, like extreme measures.
It's a solstice.
It's winter is death. Winter is death. It truly is like the cease of life naturally. Like, it's the pause. And I think that also is where a lot of feels come up because it's like this at least, you know, where we live, like LA just stops working after
Literally,
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Like it's just no one's around. Everything
And if you're
stops.
forced to keep going to work, it feels extra shitty.
And if you're forced to keep going,
yes,
extra shitty. If you're alone for that, or your life sort of shifts, and then, you know, in ancient times, you know, the food was done growing for the year, so you have a lot of time to sit and think, talk about ghosts.
yes.
So
Let's get a little bit spooky.
Let's get a little spooky and talk about some well-known
you get
cryptid
started.
friends. You want me to start?
You
Okay, we'll go
start.
back and forth. So I'll do one, then you can do one. Ahem. I'm gonna start with the most common
Okay.
of the cryptid of Christmas, which is the German Krampus. Krampus is St. Nicholas's sidekick, sort of the bad cop to his good cop.
I didn't know he was his sidekick.
Oh, really?
I'm into that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm a wee bit German, so I'm into
yeah,
this.
okay. I'm more than a wee bit German, so yes, we like Krampus. Krampus. Okay, I'm saying it like that for no reason. Whatever. And I'm sorry, I've been learning Portuguese, and like that's totally a Portuguese way to say it.
Sound, yeah.
Yeah, the shush. Okay. Anyways, so his job, like, you know, Santa rewards all the good kids, and there's a running theme throughout all of these, and it's going to be violence against children. So
Spoiler alert.
if you're triggered by that, don't listen to this episode. So yes, he's sort of like the bad boy brother
He's
to
bad
Saint
Santa.
Nick. He's bad Santa. Basically, when there's a bad kid, he will beat them with his whips, and then stuff them into his sack and drag them to hell.
Oh my god.
So that is how Krampus rolls.
This is why our parents and grandparents are so fucked up.
Like, literally, if you were a bad kid, Krampus will beat the shit out of you and take you to hell.
Casual. No pressure.
Casual, understated.
Oh my god, and like what constitutes being a bad kid, you know? Like
I don't
oh my
know.
god.
Back then. So Krampus, this is like the most well-known. There's like a low-key shitty movie about it, made recently.
LOL.
And it's not very good. It's fine. So it's still something that's celebrated sort of around the world at this point, but in Germany and LA, there's like a
feel
Krampus
the
run.
Spooky circuit is really into Krampus.
They're really
the, like,
embracing
horror
that, yeah.
circuit is
the
into
horror circuit. I mean, he. What does he look like? Well, he's a horned, like goated, like scary dude. Okay, scary.
with like fangs and shit.
He's really scary. If
Yeah.
you Google like some masks, but it's interesting
doing
because
it.
don't do it. But because people, there's a Krampus run, so it's like a parade where people dress up like Krampus and like make their own masks and things. This is Germany, and here they did one too. They do it, you know, around, and they go around and like scare people essentially. And
That sounds horrible.
yeah. So that's fun.
Keep me away.
So that
It's
is
like
Krampus.
Halloween Horror Nights, but it's Christmas Horror
Yeah.
Nights. Krampus Nights.
So, and it's a lot of dudes
like
in
Krampus
costume. Krampusschnatt. Krampusschnatt. Schnatt. I don't know.
I want to hear some more of yours.
Oh, you want to hear more?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So that's Germany. Let's see. Did I want to do? I have a long expose on one. I'm going to wait.
Okay.
Well, then we go to German, another German, and then we have Pennsylvania Dutch. So then we have Belschnickel, okay? Have you heard of Belschnickel?
No.
Okay, so Belschnickel is like not as scary as Krampus. He's just basically a dirty old man that either gives you candy or beats you. It's the same thing. But this Belschnickel, he comes a few weeks before Christmas to check up on you, right? And he doesn't bring gifts. He just is there to beat the bad kids. And he's dirty. He wears rags. And he's just stinky and smelly, and he beats you. So that's Belschnickel. I'm not even kidding. That's a real thing.
I can't.
So, again,
is
a
a
man
common
is
theme.
beating a child.
Yeah.
So that's Belschnickel. German, we are fucking insane.
I think it's interesting that they all come around this time of year.
Yes. That's something. There's a lot of beating of kids around Christmas, and maybe it's because it's wintertime and everyone's holed up in the house, so the kids are like annoying
just
the
like
parents.
Bonkers.
No, I'm like, well, maybe that's why they're like, if you don't shut the fuck up, Belschnickel's gonna come and kick your ass. Like, maybe that's why they've, this lore has come to be.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. Is it because wintertime people are more idle and they have time to get annoyed with because people would live in like one room,
Yeah,
like it's
totally.
Just closed quarters.
Yeah.
In rural, areas.
Quarantine lockdown was pretty hard.
I mean, look what quarantine did to relationships, right? I mean, maybe that's one of my theories.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Would you like to?
I'll share. So most of the cryptids and spooky spirits that I've known and have researched when it comes to like Latin America and the Caribbean aren't really specific to Christmas.
That's fine.
And I don't know if it's because they just like predate.
A lot of the Asian ones too. They're not Christmas.
They're not
specific
Christmassy
because they didn't have.
Yeah, because there wasn't Christmas until the last few hundred years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
My personal haunt is a spirit that is in Cuba. We call them El Coco, and they have other names throughout Latin America. El Cucu.
Is it El Cocoy? Is that different?
Cocoy, yes.
That's the same thing? Okay.
And it's supposedly of like Spanish or Portuguese origin, and it was brought over to the Caribbean and South America, Latin America. But in Cuba, and I think it's probably similar everywhere else, El Coco is basically a boogeyman. This like terrifying being who my grandmother would threaten that if we didn't behave ourselves when we were out in public or in her house, or if we didn't go to sleep at night, he would come and get us and eat us. And I just remember being so fucking afraid that I couldn't fall asleep fast enough because I didn't want to see El Coco. I didn't want him to show up before I had a chance to fall asleep.
That's scary.
Isn't that fucked up? Why are we doing this to children?
So far, 3 for 3.
I feel like a really good parent in this episode.
Right. I mean,
because I don't scare the shit out of my kids.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
La Llorona, like
I have her on my
vibes.
list too. Yeah. And like La Llorona is definitely one of those tales of like a woman scorned.
Yeah.
And I think that it's both a trope, but also a common theme that a lot of folks of Latin American ancestry experience. It's like machismo tends to express itself sometimes as a disloyal partner to the women who hold it the fuck down with kids and a house. And the story of La Llorona is a story of a woman scorned. There are different versions of it. In some versions, she's married to her partner and they have kids, and she finds out that he's cheating and she drowns herself and her children, and she wanders the earth looking for her children. And if you misbehave or if you wander off from your parents, she'll scoop you up if you're a kid and take you down to the waters with her. And then there are also versions where she was betrothed to somebody who was cheating on her, and he went to stop by his lover's house on the way to the wedding, and she got him drunk, so he missed the wedding.
What?
And like in her agony, like she killed herself. And we should put like a content warning on this episode.
Yeah, we should do a trigger
in
warning.
the episode description for sure. Maybe we can edit it in. But
it's gonna get worse.
It's gonna get worse. In
sure.
her agony, she kills herself and wanders the earth looking for the children that she wanted to have, that she didn't get to have because she never got partnered. And so I feel like La Llorona is one of those spirits that little kids get threatened with and we're afraid of. But as you get older, you realize like that could be me.
it's relatable a little
La
more.
Llorona could be any of us, and maybe she's not this like evil entity, but she's somebody who was genuinely harmed, and we've turned her into this like villain when really she's the victim. So she's an interesting one. There's actually a really great movie. There's a shitty movie
But
called
it's
La Llorona.
not La Llorona, where it's like the white woman is the main focus of the
Not that
whole thing.
one. It was by a Guatemalan filmmaker, and I am sorry for forgetting his name, but the La Llorona by the Guatemalan filmmaker follows like an indigenous woman who is a housekeeper for this wealthy family. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's fucking
I wanna
good.
watch it.
It's really good.
Okay.
I highly recommend, yeah.
Because I tried to watch the other one and I was like,
It was literal garbage.
oh my God, this
Yeah.
is garbage.
Not
and it's
even the kind of garbage
about
that's fun.
like-
yeah.
This is really bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Give me another one.
I have a female scary pants
Ooh.
from Iceland.
Ooh.
There is a giant grumpy troll woman named Grilla.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've heard of, and she like exists in other places too, like under like Gryla and
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Gryla, Grilla, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
things, right? So this really a deity almost has been around since like 1300, like and before. Like it's like a pagan
An old
like
spirit.
an old spirit,
Yeah.
right? But it's something that's taken very seriously in Iceland and still really feared and has really stood the test of time. So I will get into a description. She's big, she's grumpy, she's hungry for kids to eat at Christmas. She puts them in a sack and boils them alive, okay?
the sack is very popular.
The sack is popular. You got to put it somewhere. I mean, where is she going to put the kids, right?
I don't think they could fit in anything else. Yeah, that's true.
So I'll get into like the specifics and then I'll get into some interesting things, okay?
Okay.
So she's got family and things associated with her that were sort of added on in the 19th century
Okay.
that weren't always associated with
Her lore evolved.
her lore evolved and she got a family, okay? She has a husband at some point that she eats because she got bored of him. We love her. Love her for that. That happens. You know, sometimes you got to eat your
Sometimes
husband.
it's the only right thing to do.
So he's not like a super. It varies a lot. Like you said, like this is Iceland based, but there's.
Yeah.
She's got hooves. Let's see. Okay, so she's got 13 sons called the Yule. Fuck, what are they called? I forgot to write that down. But they're like the seven dwarves, kind of.
Yeah,
They each got a
like the
personality.
Yule children. Yeah,
like the
yeah,
Yule
yeah.
boys or something like that. I forgot. So they have things like the seven dwarves. There's like, you know, Sleepy Dopey. There's Gully Hawk. He hides in gullies and then jumps out and licks the foam from freshly milked cows, like on top of the. He goes, and he like jumps back. There's Stubby, who's short.
Stop it.
That's it. Stubby's just short. That's his flaw.
Poor Stubby.
Poor Stubby.
Didn't get any special power.
This is just a few of my favorites. Okay, my
These
favorite
are
is
a few of my
favorite
things.
Yule lads. The Yule lads. That's what it is. Yeah, I got it. It's lads.
Yes.
Yule boys sounds like Proud Boys or something. Whatever. Okay, there's Spoon Licker. Guess what he does?
Nasty.
Guess what Spoon Licker does? He's a licker and thief of spoons.
Does he lick the clean spoons?
Yeah.
I babysat a little kid who did that.
Spoon Licker. He steals your spoons and will lick your spoons. I feel like I have a spoon licker like in my house, like a fucking brownie or something. Okay, there's a guy who's like a door slammer. Likes to slam doors. There's Window Peeper. Okay, so what I'm getting at here is these are male predatory behaviors.
They are slamming
that are
doors,
manifesting
being
as
nasty.
Yule lads.
Yeah.
So Window Peeper, he looks at you through the window. Like that's a literal like.
Oh my
Is it a federal
God.
offense? I don't think so, but You can go to jail for that.
You
okay?
can definitely get in trouble for being
you can get
a window
flagged.
peeper.
You can probably get arrested.
You end
for
up on
that.
a registry somewhere. Yeah.
So you're a sex offender. So they are sex offenders and stalkers and
It's just gross.
creepy ass. So those are her kids that were given to her lore in a much later period than her origin. Okay, so then she's got a pet cat.
Okay.
It's called the Yule cat.
Of course.
There's another name, and I wrote this cat don't give a fuck because a lot of these things are like, hey, I'm gonna kill you because of this, this, and this. Like you're bad or something.
Right.
The cat will just fucking eat you for no reason, right? Just they don't care. Adults and children alike.
Oh,
the cat
okay.
will eat you.
Yeah.
Unless you get a new article of clothing for Christmas. And then you're spared.
Then you're spared from the cat? So the
Yeah.
cat just doesn't like old fashioned.
Well, the cat. So I was confused about. I was like, "What the fuck?" So then I did more research, and it turns out, if you got all your work done, you were rewarded with a new article of clothing. I guess that was a thing. So that was a symbol of like all your work was done for the year.
You've done all
and
the
you've
labor.
been rewarded with a new article of like with some socks or a hat or something. So it's back to this theme of like you're
Punishment.
lazy. It's laziness and punishment for not working or for not fulfilling something. Again, across the board. Look,
Sounds like a setup.
Grilla is like, I'm hungry and I'm going to eat you. But then we got her cat is just like the Krampus of this story, right?
Right.
Okay, so
Fascinating.
Grilla or Graylas or whatever you want to call her's name loosely translate to growler.
Okay. Yeah.
She's a growler. Okay. So before, this is like an ancient, if we treat this as an ancient pagan, like folklore deity, which she is, and she wasn't connected to her family until the 19th century, before this whole like extra story where there was a lot of added male figures and this cool cat. We like the cat. We stand the cat. She basically controls winter, like as the season. She has a lot of power.
So she became demonized.
A little bit. She was
Yeah.
always grumpy and kind of like
Yeah.
sketch, but
Which makes sense for winter.
she's a crone.
She's a crone. She's a crone.
She's a crone. She
Crones are a little
personifies
grumpy.
crone, winter and darkness,
And
and
they
has
made her
power.
the villain.
And they sort of, she became feared, I
Yeah.
should say.
Well, and like it's good to have a healthy dose of fear when it comes to
Especially
like
with-
elder spirits.
Yeah. So that's sort of where it
But they made her scary by
They made her
adding in
kinda
those
ugly
little
and
shitty
those shitty
shitty
dudes.
kids.
Yeah.
Yule lads, fuckers.
Isn't that interesting? So it was like before, the 19th century, which I'm sure brought about more patriarchal bullshit.
Right.
She had a lot of power, and she still does. Like, she's still respected a
Yeah.
lot. But, there's still this added story, added lore to her story, because I don't know why. But again, there's just...
We love to villainize the crone, don't we?
Yeah.
We do.
We do like to villainize the crone and throw tomatoes at the ugliness of the aging body.
Women are not allowed to age. No.
So,
Fascinating.
isn't that interesting? So, yeah, I think, and I was thinking about it too, is like pagan celebrations in the wintertime were meant to bring people together, but they're also meant to bring the dead and spooky ass spirits together with all of that.
Yeah.
So that's where all this stuff comes from. And like without that, it's just pseudo happy and sugary coated crap, and that's what we have in America, at least.
Yeah. Hyper consumerism.
Yeah. Just this weird, and to me, like personally, I have a lot of trouble connecting with Christmas because of just stuff. And I think that's part of it. I think if it was more about the dead, and if it was more spooky for me, culturally, like I would like it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I like the darkness, and I think that's more interesting, you know?
That was like a big trend during the Victorian age, especially in like England, or the UK.
Yeah.
Was telling ghost stories. That's where Charles Dickens, what is it?
Yeah,
Scrooge, A Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol.
That's where that came from. Like, that was the vibe at Christmas. And a lot of them had to do with like the downfall of greed and wealth. And it was at a time when the British Empire was at its greatest, aka most evil. And so a lot of these stories came from working class homes, working class families, poor families. And when you don't have a lot of money, you can't exchange gifts, right? You're exchanging stories with one another. And so they would have these haunting tales about the downfall of the wealthy through the supernatural. Which is, that sounds like fun to me.
We should bring that shit back. Or bring it to America. I mean...
Scare the rich.
I just don't like this whole, and it's just, you know, Yule pagan traditions were heavily borrowed, okay, to assimilate, and it's just kind of sad, and then we're demonized, so
Yeah.
it's icky.
It's icky.
You got any more?
Sure. I have La Befana, who is an Italian spirit, but you can also find her in other parts of Eastern Europe. And she's very much a crone-like figure. And like the Krampus, she doles out punishments for the lazy and gifts for the hardworking. And she rides on a broomstick. Every January, she packs up and sets off on a broomstick to join the three kings, the Magi, who are also seeking the Christ child. She searches every house, and if she finds a child there, she leaves a cookie and gifts behind. So she's not all bad. And here's the thing. If we think about work from outside of a capitalist lens, there's always going to be work to do when it comes to taking care of ourselves, one another, and Mother Earth. Like, if we removed capitalism from the equation entirely, like, somebody has to feed people, somebody has to clothe people, somebody has to bathe people, we have to bathe ourselves, we have to take care of the animals, we have to tend to our gardens. And even if money wasn't a thing, labor would still exist, not in the way it does now. And so I can kind of see where this energy of like, you need to make sure your work is done before it gets too cold.
Yeah.
And if you get it done, you'll be rewarded as like a way to like incentivize people to get their hustle on before the frost comes. I'm just like now like connecting those dots, you know, like even if we weren't forced to go to work the way we are now, there would still be work to do. And I can see why certain spirits come out during this type of year to remind you, like, get that shit done because winter's coming.
And also if they're earthly spirits, like they're gonna want you to take care of your shit and take care of the land that they come from, right? Because that's before and snow is no joke, okay? I'm working from California.
Yeah, I don't fuck with the snow.
I don't fuck with snow. It's not my thing. Not for me. It's scary and it's cold.
It's too cold. I don't like it. It's pretty. Don't get me wrong. But like, a blizzard
with no electricity,
like snow for months
with no electricity.
It's not for me.
It's not. It's not that. Imagine that circumstance. If we just turned off all the sound, we just had candles. That's it. Yeah, and we were freezing fucking cold.
You only have candles. It gets dark really early.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time.
And we have very little, like, food left.
Because it's the cold time.
I'd be a little grumpy, too.
Yeah.
I'd be a little, like, duh, you know?
Yeah. It kind of makes them seem not... I mean, the beating the kids part, that's fucked up. We don't condone that. But, like, I'm understanding it more. Like, it's making sense.
We're getting where this is coming from.
Yeah. I see the, like, human need where these spirits arose from.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that all on your...
That's a good one.
All right.
We're really like figuring this out, aren't we?
We really are. Okay. I forgot to look at. Okay. We're going to talk about Mari Lwyd.
I was hoping you would talk about Mari Lwyd.
Is it Mari?
It's, I don't know.
Mari Lwyd. Mari Lwyd. Is it, where does it come from?
Know.
I'm going to say it in an Irish accent because I think I like it. Actually, it's Welsh.
It's Welsh, right? Welsh. Yeah.
Okay. So it's Welsh. So this is a Christmas zombie horse. We like her. This is a Welsh tradition. She rises from the grave and tries to enter your house. And the way that you win this battle of wits is with the battle of words. Essentially, you have to rap battle this zombie horse.
Give them essentially, a little rhyme.
You do. You rap battle this horse, okay? And then it goes, and this is on New Year's Eve. It'll try and get in your house. So that's cool. And I think people do that too, where they'll go door to door and be like, Mari Lwyd's trying to get in your house.
Yeah.
And then you have to
they
it's
do
like
have
a game.
Somebody who gets dressed up and I love the costume. It's kind of fun to look at.
Yeah, the costume is really beautiful. It's like a skeleton horse with like ribbon and like.
Yeah.
It's actually really beautiful.
It's fucking cool.
Like I would tattoo that on me.
I like the Mari Lwyd.
If it meant something like.
Don't they have like a little lyre too or something? A guitar.
They sound like a good
instrument,
time.
right?
Google it. I don't know. I forgot. But they're very beautiful. This zombie horse.
I like the zombie horse. I was hoping you would talk about the Mari Lwyd. Okay, I'll share another one. This is not a Christmas one.
That's okay.
Let's see. So back to Latin American spirits. One that came up is Pixtaco. Ooh. And their country of origin is Peru and Bolivia. You can find them in both places. And this one like cracked me the fuck up, so I have to share it. A pale-skinned vampire boogeyman who roams the Andes and kills peasants in order to drain them of their body fat. The legend of Pixtaco was basically plucked directly from the real-life horrors experienced by indigenous communities of Peru and Bolivia during colonization in the 15th century.
Wow.
The first written account of the creature comes from the priest Cristobal de Molina, a 16th century scholar of Incan culture, who chronicled a spreading native fear in Cusco that Spaniards were going to kill them and drain them of their fat. Since then, Spaniards were fucked up too. Like, Spaniards are wildly violent, and that is like, again, part of like the legacy of being like a person of mixed descent from these places. Since then, descriptions of the creature have varied slightly from generation to generation, but as a rule, they all tend to be white men, invaders, alternately also depicted as priests, doctors, aid workers, missionaries, tourists, anthropologists.
Damn.
They stand in for 5 centuries of foreign exploitation, which honestly, like, it's kind of the most terrifying part of this whole myth, right? That like it actually isn't that wild though? Like it.
Wow.
The violence of colonialism became part of the lore, became part of the lore. Pixtaco, they have to be white. I think something that I'm realizing as we're going through cryptids from Europe versus from like Latin America is that it seems like Europe is the only place where we have Christmas centric or like winter centric spirits.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder, like, does that have something to do with like Christianity's like chokehold on that area?
I think so.
Eventually the whole world. But
yeah, like, I mean, that was sort of the way. I would be interested to like do a little chart that like I won't do it, but someone could do it.
But someone could do it.
I'm sure somebody has a degree in
this
Christmas cryptid anthropology. Absolutely.
Please reach out to the show.
Please, I have a fan. That's
hit us up on the
my
third eye
dream
line.
job. Okay.
Do you have any more
Yes.
Christmassy ones?
This is the most fucked up one.
Lay it on me.
Frau Perched. Okay. She's a witch. And on New Year's Eve, she, guess what? Rewards the good and punishes the bad. If you're bad, she violently slashes open your stomach, pulls out your intestines, and replaces them with garbage.
Oh my God.
Garbage, straw, or rocks, to be more specific. She rides a demon called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Straggle. So,
Oh my God. You know what
like,
this
welcome to Straggler Rock. Down to Straggle Rock. It's like Fraggle Rock.
Chase the cares away.
Chase the cares away.
Save them for another day.
Cut your guts out. Down to Straggle Rock.
You know, a lot of these punishments, bringing it back to Christianity, are sounding a lot like the torture methods implemented by the Catholic Church for like heretics.
Oh. Yeah. Interesting.
Right? It's almost like the Catholic Church incites violence.
Interesting. I mean, that's some scary shit. That's like, why isn't there a Frau Perched, which is a German, and again, of German origin, or Austrian German? Why is that not a movie? I want to see that movie.
Yeah. And a part of me wonders, like, I wonder if, what's her name again? Frau Perched?
Yeah.
Frau Perched. I wonder if, like, if we go back far enough, Frau Perched and other spirits like her, like, what if they weren't so much about rewarding those who worked hard and punishing those who were bad? Because, like, humans are imperfect. I wonder if they were more about, like, being enforcers of justice, like
Or
real
protectors.
justice and protectors, you know? Like, I wonder
Maybe
if it
they
wasn't
got
so much about being
demonized.
naughty. Yeah. Like, it's not so much about being a bad kid or not working hard enough. I wonder if they used to be the punishers of those who really did cause harm to
Yeah.
other humans and to the planet.
I mean, look at how they treat actual witches.
Right.
You know,
Healers.
healers, people that talk to cats
Yeah.
because they were lonely and old and alone. Maybe.
I couldn't help but wonder. Carrie Bradshaw voice.
Couldn't help but wonder. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a few female cryptids here that
Because even Gryla didn't get those shitty
Gryla's
Yule lads
powerful.
until later.
Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know.
I'm curious.
Maybe they felt that adding the male perspective added value to her legend, which was fine. How would anyone understand that an old woman is powerful? She needs a man and
This is
children
not relatable.
and a cat, but we like the cat. It's fine. I'm not mad at the
I'm
cat.
just curious. I wonder, I think that might be my next research project.
Yeah.
Is like digging into these old crones that became these like enforcers of punishment against people who were misbehaving. And I wonder if they were really more like people who, or spirits who exercised like true justice when it comes to being like a good inhabitant of Earth.
And the people that perpetuated these legends were the people that were harming the
Probably
earth
the
and harming
worst.
a lot
Yeah.
of people probably.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
So yeah,
absolutely.
they flipped it maybe. The only other thing I have to add to this to the scaries, I know you have some more. So, is that in Portugal there's a seasonal sea monster dish. It's in the shape of a sea monster or
You
a
get to eat
lamprey.
it?
It's made of egg yolks and it's called lampreia de ovos. Okay.
Interesting.
And it's the lamprey. I think it translates to like lamprey eggs or the eggs or something like that. But it's like this little. It's cute. It's like and it's like an eggy dish, and it looks like a sea monster.
That's cool.
I thought that was cute.
Yeah, that also like tracks that there's lots of sea monster lore in Portuguese.
Portugal and
Yeah.
yes, that does track. It's a lot of ocean. Anywho's,
Yeah.
I'm spent. What else you got?
What else I got? I mean, I have a few local, like, California cryptids who aren't, again, like, winter specific, but we'll give them a little shout out.
Yeah.
We have the lone... I just got a chill. This one must be real. The Lone Pine Mountain Devil. The Lone Pine Mountain
yourself.
Devil. I did.
Why are you all red right now? Protect
Spray
Kaitlyn.
me.
Oh,
This one must be real.
yeah.
Okay. So the Lone Pine Mountain Devil is a winged carnivore of North American folklore. Some believe it to be a West Coast relative of the New Jersey Devil.
I love the Jersey Devil.
They are described as winged demons sent from the depths of hell.
Ah.
And it's like, are they winged demons sent from the depths of hell? Or are they just like really fucking old animals and there aren't that many of them left and we can't get that close to them for
Like
science to do their
pterodactyls?
weird thing and identify them? Exactly.
Maybe they're pterodactyls.
Maybe it's like
they're
a dinosaur.
owls.
You know, like a spirit, not a spirit, but like a creature that just hasn't.
Like Loch Ness Monster, they say, is a
Yeah.
plesiosaur.
Or like Tahoe Tessie. There's a
Tahoe
monster
Tessie.
in Lake Tahoe named Tahoe Tessie.
Oh my gosh, that's cute. Yeah, I mean, the Jersey Devil is allegedly like a half demon, half man. There was like, that was like born, you know, of a woman, a human woman, but then or a science experiment gone wrong. There's a lot of weird theories. about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's all very creepy.
So apparently the North Pine Devil only attack creatures who disrupt the ambiance and inner peace of its natural habitat. But I would
Same.
imagine that like
Same, I do too.
as humans continue to encroach and like build fucking track homes all over the place, these poor guys don't have a lot of space to like
These poor
be
devils.
chill.
No. If they exist, then yeah, I'd be like,
It seems like the last sightings were in the early 2000s and we haven't seen them since.
they're extinct.
Right? I'm all feeling bad for it. Like,
What?
the North Pine Devil's this person too. Then we have the Fresno night crawlers. Those are spooky.
Those are spooky.
Those are spooky.
Do tell.
They're believed to be an alien, but they're a cryptid that has made 2 appearances so far. One in Fresno and the other in Yosemite or Ahwahnee National Park in California. In both sightings, it's only seen in video footage, and they're basically this like like long, tall, slender, gray, like lots of legs.
Lots of legs, like plural?
It's like 2 sets of legs, but a lot of them. They're really, really long
yeah.
leg, like very, very small on top. And
Is there
I
a
mean,
picture?
there's a photo, which you can't see them that well.
I don't like. That's like.
There are videos. You can find the videos on YouTube, but I will not watch
Yeah,
it.
don't watch that.
And I kind of wonder, okay, here's the thing with alien. Well, they like to be called extraterrestrials, first of all. In my practice, I have channeled and interacted with countless extraterrestrial spirits, kind of like Juniper.
Yeah, like Juniper.
And what I have found about...
That's one of my guides, by the way, in case this is the only episode.
Listen to the last episode.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
what I have found that all extraterrestrials that I've encountered have in common is that they have a desire to see humankind succeed. They're like, look, we've been doing this whole taking care of a planet thing a lot longer than you. We don't understand why it went so wrong. Here's some helpful advice. So sometimes when I see these things about cryptids that might be extraterrestrials, I'm like, are they protectors? Like, are they really scary or are they protectors?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're always. I think it's always scary because humans we fear what we don't know and don't
Exactly,
understand.
yeah.
I mean, but I mean, they are. I mean, look, if I saw one of those things, I'd probably
be
be like, I
scared.
wouldn't go up to it.
No, I would not be like, hey.
But they say that about Bigfoot too.
Yeah.
And Sasquatch is that.
They're supposed to be in California too.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, they're kind of all over the country
Yeah.
in different hotspots. And they say that too about Bigfoot, is that they're interdimensional beings.
Mm-hmm.
And that, or they're Gigantopithecus that didn't die out, which I think is. Have you
I
ever?
don't think either is impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what Gigantopithecus is, yeah?
No.
So it's an old non-human primate
Right.
that existed.
Right.
It was real, and
Yes.
it looks just like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like if you Google it, if you want to Google it, you
Yeah.
can't. You don't have to. But it's huge, and it.
I feel like both of those
And I'm like,
are
well,
reasonable.
you know, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's
think-
interesting to me that there was something that literally existed
Yeah.
that looks just like Bigfoot.
I think sometimes humans forget, or they just don't know that, like, we are not
We're a little
the
new here.
first. We are so new
Don't
to
act new.
Earth. Right?
Don't act new.
You're embarrassing us. There are so many beings who have existed on this earth before us, and I'm not just talking about the dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah.
evolution's fucking real. I'm not one of those.
Yes.
But there are elder spirits who have existed here so much longer, and like the most well-known are the Fae.
Yeah.
And something one of my teachers, Chiron Armand, taught me is that like the Fae are the justice system of the earth. So these elder spirits that were here before us, they're not so much interested in helping us. They're more about helping the earth. And sometimes we are afraid of them because they do dole out punishment, but they dole out punishment as they see it appropriate based on how to take care of the planet. Which is kind of an interesting way to think about it.
Which would explain why, like, Bigfoots throw rocks at people.
Totally. They're like, what the fuck are you doing?
And
a
then-
campfire here?
It may be why people go missing in forests sometimes,
Doing things they shouldn't be doing.
or just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Because these, you have to understand something about elementals. They're not human. So the things that we deem fucked up and wrong by our moral compass does not always align with how they feel and think. And it's sad. Sometimes that means that little kids go missing, and maybe that, I don't know, it could be like a human predator stealing kids and stuff. But
Totally.
there have been some very strange instances where
Yeah.
adults and children have gone missing like that.
Well, in
And
the woods,
those stories freak me the fuck out.
When you think about like the woods as a sacred space, and when you think about the indigenous people of these lands, like for example, we both have ancestors who settled in Appalachia. And in Appalachia, like you don't go out at night. You don't look in the trees.
No.
If something calls your name, you keep walking forward. And these are all things that the people who settled there learned from the indigenous people who were ultimately taken from there during the Trail of Tears. But even like, okay, when we were in Ahwahnee, Yosemite, there was this one lake. And all of these tourists were in there swimming. And I walked up to it and I was like, we have to go. And I realized like I couldn't explain it in the moment. And this has happened to me in other natural places where I'm like, humans aren't supposed to be here.
That's how I felt about Big Sur the last time I just
like
went there.
this doesn't belong to us. This is not for us. There are some parts of this earth that are specifically for the elder spirits and the elementals. And when we go poking around in there, we're literally not welcome.
No.
And like shit can happen.
And it's all like national park. National parks don't release records of how many people go missing in them. That's
Isn't that
weird.
fascinating?
It's weird.
I did not know that.
They don't keep track. It's fucking. There's this guy in this documentary. It's a pretty credible documentary. This guy wrote a book called Missing 411, and have you? Oh my god, it's so creepy. And it's fascinating to me because it's these stories about these hot spots where people go missing.
Yeah.
A lot of them being where there are caves as well, like cave systems and things like that. So that's a whole nother episode, but we'll talk about that on our extraterrestrial episode.
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert, there's gonna be an extraterrestrial episode. He talks about how he literally inquired about these things, and they were like, oh, we'll give it to you for like $500,000 or $50,000. Like, they were like, they know shit's happening, and they don't keep track of how many people die or go missing.
Because they don't want people to know.
It's weird.
It is weird.
Because then the tourists wouldn't come.
Right.
Because they're banking the land. So it's all money.
It's all money.
But it's like these park rangers, and I'm like,
well,
it's so weird.
When you think about like how the national park system came to be, and how like John Muir, who was a eugenicist, the Sierra Club was founded on eugenicist ideology. When the stewards of the land are like uprooted, and then some white dude decides to just pave trails through the land without consideration for the spirits of the land, like bad shit's gonna happen.
Bad shit. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The song, "This land is your land."
It's fucked
this
up.
Land is my land. This manifest destiny shit that we're taught in school, like
it's bullshit.
How do you not think that's not going to come with a spiritual cost?
Because
manifest destiny, because everything is ours, because we're
that
white
entitlement. Absolutely.
It's really scary.
It is, when you think about it, how like there's just no consideration for consequence, because white supremacy does not have consequences for whiteness.
No, it's just take.
Yeah.
It's ours. It's our destiny.
Extract. Yeah. Murder,
hide.
Yeah.
Sweep under the rug, bury.
Yeah.
Canada too. Not just here.
Yep.
Not just here. All around the world.
All around the world.
People all over the world.
We have to incorporate humor.
So hey. No fucking wonder there are scary ass cryptids.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the protectors. Like we talked about the Grilla, and like maybe
they're the defenders of the earth.
And we're not meant to like fucking interact and see them. So when we do, and they're like, "Rah," we're like, and then
we're like, that's evil. And they're like, just hungry.
They're like, just want honey. It's like Winnie the Pooh, like, Rah. I mean, then those things are fascinating because they're fascinating.
Yeah.
And people make some good documentaries about them. Some people sensationalize it, and it gets mixed up, and people don't think it's real, and people think witches fucking really fly. So I mean, that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be fun if we could fly though?
Yeah, like I would fucking wish.
Love that shit.
I wish. What else did I want to say about Christmas time?
I don't know. Is it time for spirit candy?
Yeah, I think it's time for spirit candy.
Spirit candy.
Channeled messages from our spirit guides.
This sort of goes along with wintertime.
Okay.
In silence, you will find enough stagnancy to feel your full connection to self, and therefore the earth. And I'm going to add on to that, and therefore the spirits of the earth that surround you, so you can hang out and give them a cookie. And that's wintertime, right? That stagnancy, that void. And like the card that we pulled at the beginning, that's a time to ask for connection and to ask for help from spirits that maybe you don't always seek because of whatever reason, right?
Spirits are seasonal, for sure.
You're never alone. I'll be hitting up my girl, Mari Lude, the demon horse.
Marilude is so cute.
The cutest
like,
of the Christmas cryptids.
But also so cute.
Like I want a painting of her on my wall. Like I would rock it.
Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. This is about Lucifer, but I do think it's applicable to what we are unpacking about these spirits.
I'm always down for Lucifer.
So Lucifer, as we have come to know him, is an invention of the church to further justify the oppression of the non-conforming and the feminine. When enough people begin to believe in something, through the power of their belief, eventually that entity, that energy comes to exist in its own way. While many use the demonization of Lucifer as their point of reference, in truth, he is a guardian angel for those who feel discarded, abandoned, tossed away, the ones who refuse to toss away their own truths and fall into line. Through this understanding of the spirit, Lucifer becomes the liberator, and Lilith, the gentle mother of the orphaned. And I think that something we are discovering just through the process of talking it out this episode is that a lot of these spirits might not be so scary, but they've been possibly like manipulated and twisted into something that is a tool of inflicting fear in those who do not labor as the system's desire for them to labor.
Or straight up invented
Yeah.
because of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or borrowed and twisted,
Exactly.
and then
yes.
renamed and
I feel like that's
repackaged.
even more powerful to like take the spirits who the like pagans already had and to like manipulate them to pervert those real spirits into something dangerous is
done all the time.
a powerful tool.
The goat, the horned god.
Exactly. Yes.
Lucifer, the
Absolutely.
horned god. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Damn.
It's a good fucking episode.
It's a good episode.
I very much enjoyed
Merry
it.
Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Da-na-na-na-na.
Feliz Navidad.
Prospero año y felicidad.
I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Well, and on a real note, though, like I hope that you all find comfort this holiday season. Maybe I'm going to try and rewire my little brainy brain and think about it in this new creepy way because that makes me happy.
Yeah,
And this
bring back
new-
the Victorian vibe.
Let's get spooky this Christmas season.
Pop
Let's
some popcorn.
watch a scary-ish movie.
Tell some ghost stories. I really like Scrooged, if you're into that. It's got ghosties. It's got
It's like
humor.
the only one I can think of. And the shitty Krampus movie.
Yeah.
But hey, get what you can, right? So
Watch Die Hard.
watch Die Hard. There's enough violence in Die Hard that,
Yeah.
it's nothing compared to these motherfuckers, but Mary Lude, whatever the fuck, knock on your door. And may you win the battle of wits.
A bright Yuletide to you all. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Kaitlyn Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Kaitlyn on Instagram at Spirit Garden Tarot.